for the light.
Here we go. Here we go. Well, look who it is already in there. What does he have to say?
It's the nerve with this
What do you say?
comment because
I
where
want
was you
credit
at
on my
last week?
for the 5 minutes of y'all miss. I have been. We always gotta have a joke.
Consider it even, Steven, Mark, because you were not here last week.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, you were not on your post last week, and we don't appreciate it.
at all.
But here we go. It is time for another edition of Hot Cocoa and Candy Canes. I am one of your co-hosts. Yes, yes, yes. I'm one of your co-hosts, Shawn Harrison. My other co-host is
Daphne Jones in the place to be.
oh, she sounded all official. Daphne Jones and the place to be. All right, Daphne, as we usually do, how was your day? How were you?
My day was cool. I'm all right. Coming up on Christmas, I was trying to stay out these holiday streets.
Okay. Well, greetings to both of you guys for showing up. We see you. Hello, Tori.
Hey,
Hello,
hey,
Onika.
Toe. Hey, Annika.
Oh, Annika, I'm sorry. Thank you for correcting me. Okay.
You're welcome.
So anyhow, I'm doing all right. What is your snack of choice today before we jump into today's edition?
I have Trader Joe's dark chocolate chunk and almond cookies. I'm only going to eat a couple or maybe even one because every time you ask me about what my snack is, you eat yours right now. You don't never eat none the rest of the time. And
I
I'm
know how greedy she is.
chopping away.
Every time I look back at the footage, I see her in her whatever. She just munching, doing that. It's ridiculous. Anyhow, once again, as we usually do, I got to chastise her for being in my store, Trader Joe's. Please stay out of my store. It is my store. It is not your store. It is my store. It's not your store. It's my
Please stop
store.
this every week.
No, I got to say what I got to say. Anyhow, my snack of choice this week is from Trader Joe's because I am the Trader Joe's guy. And as you can see, this says sweet and salty snack mix. And it's actually pretty good. It's popcorn, chocolate covered chips, some pretzels, and some kind of nut is in here. I think a peanut is in here. So it's actually pretty good.
Okay.
All right, without further ado, we are here to talk about BET Plus. See, I got it right this week.
Look at you, improving.
Look at me. All right. The movie called Too Many Christmases. Now, unfortunately, let me go over to my tab here. All right. So it is starring Denzel, Whitaker, Porscha, Coleman, Jack A. Harry, Michael Colyar, Valarie Pettiford, Adele Givens, and a few other people that perhaps we'll get to as we talk about this. Okay. So per usual, I am interested to know how many candy canes are you putting in the hot cocoa for this movie?
I'm giving this movie or putting only 2 candy canes in my hot cocoa for this movie. And I wanted to ask you if you remember what I rated Style Me for Christmas.
I don't.
Okay, because I wanted to make sure that I didn't give this any more than what I gave Style Me for Christmas.
I mean, I think you started.
I needed it to be together.
I feel like you started pretty high. As you know, I've been on the low side of things. So
yeah, but I didn't give that one.
No. I would suspect if I had to go back, it was probably like 2.5 candy canes. I think you might have given it, but we couldn't do halves. So I had to.
Oh, yes. Okay.
I think that's what it was. At that time, we couldn't do the halves. All right. So you're putting 2 candy canes in the hot cocoa.
How about you?
All right. I am putting 2 candy canes as well.
Oh, you giving what?
Yes, I am giving it 2 candy canes. Look at Mark. You see?
Yes, Mark. Correct.
That's very, very, very surprising.
And correct again.
Okay, listen. Okay, so here it is. Let me read a bit of the premise for you. This comes from the Paramount Express Plus page, which is BET Plus. It's all in the family, y'all. So it says Jerome and Kayla are excited to spend their first Christmas together as husband and wife. The only problem is that they've never celebrated Christmas without their respective families. This Christmas, instead of deciding on one event, they agreed to attend 2 at the same time to appease their families. Now, from jump, it seems like a fun premise and a cool idea, but I have to say that part of the reason why I gave this 2 candy canes is that it started fun and then it hit a lull and then it stayed there, and then it crashed and burned for me. So by the time we got to the end of the film, I was like, yeah, this needed to end probably a long time.
Yep, pretty much. I said when I started watching it, same. It started off, I was hopeful,
Yeah.
and as it went on, I said this movie should not be named Too Many Christmases. It should be named Too Many Storylines and Too Many Things. That's
Okay. So let's go ahead again. Let's do what we do. I need to know the three things that you liked the least. And let me look.
okay. So there were a few things that I did not like.
Okay.
So let me just try and let me put my glasses on, y'all, so I
Please.
can see, because he talked about me last time. Three things that I liked least. I'm gonna say whatever this writing was, I was not a fan of the writing with the storyline. Like I said, it could have been called Too Many Things Going On.
Okay. Yeah, I got something to say about that.
What I also did liked least was that I feel like both Jackie and Michael Colyar were underused.
I'm saying.
I was very excited to see that they were in this, so I was expecting this to be a fun time, and I was like, where are they?
Yes.
And oh goodness, I'm trying to read what I wrote. I was scribbling. There's too many things to choose from, so I'm just going to go with something simple
Okay.
and say it was a couple of hair issues that I noticed, and this is not a big deal.
Thank you. I love when you touch on stuff I feel like I can't say. Go ahead.
It's not a huge deal, but I Denzel's flat top wasn't doing what it.
You know what?
Maybe it was doing what it wanted him to do.
No.
It wasn't doing it for me.
While she's talking about that, I want to show y'all a clip so y'all can see exactly what she's talking about. So here's the issue. Okay. So he's supposed to be a barber. And we want y'all, as you look at this clip, to look at his hair. Now, mind you, she brought this up. I didn't. So this is
She still got her apartment, just in case she want to go home, do her thing. Pop, yeah.
Here, it looks the best in that first scene than it did the rest of the movie. So that you took a better clip for that.
I don't know about that.
As the movie continues, it gets worse.
As a man, I'm gonna say that's bad. Whether it started and got worse, that's bad, especially if you're a barber. I don't know too many barbers that don't have their hair looking fly, but I understand the constraints of doing a film. Okay, but anyway, those are your
all
right. So that's your three, right?
Yep.
Okay, so my three are kind of the same. As I stated, the premise fizzled. I thought that they started in a decent place. I wanted to give them room to see if they could do something with this setup. And quickly, what I discovered is that they didn't know how to make this story work. And so, as you stated, they made this about other things. So instead of this being about too many Christmases, there were actually two storylines going on. And so you guys are gonna, if you watch the film, you'll discover that there is this premise, or part of the premise, I'm sorry, is that the wife's brother is sort of trans or cross-dresser, and he gets into it with the grandfather. The grandfather gets into it with him because he doesn't accept that lifestyle and that type of presentation. And so they spend a great deal of the time delving into that, surprisingly, because the film is supposed to be about this scheme of the husband and wife sharing their first Christmas together, trying to figure out a way to visit both families. And so that was problematic. So that's the third thing for me. The second thing for me was similar to you. Jackie did not do a damn thing in this film. And I sat there waiting, like, I'm smiling. I'm like, it's Jackie.
With bated breath.
They're going to let her loose, right? And he never let it fly. And if she did, maybe it was left on the cutting room floor, but we did not really see it in the film. And so that was a big disappointment for me. So that's my second. And then my number one is the cousin character. He is the comic relief of the film. And it just felt for me like he was doing bit after bit, gag after gag. And it didn't really work for me. So those are the three things that I like the least. In fact, I will go ahead and I'll play you guys the cousin, just because I have the clip if I can find it. All right, here we go. Yeah, so for me, it felt like a bunch of different comedians that he sort of pulled together and pulled from them to create these things. And those are supposed to be distractions from the overall
Mhm.
premise of the film. So I didn't really get the type of funny from it that I think it was supposed to be positioned to highlight.
I can see that, but normally for me, I would say that it was a little bit silly, but in this film, in
Yeah.
this movie that we saw, I found him to be funny. He was the only thing that made me giggle in this movie. The everything else I was like, please, what are we doing? So Jahan, that's his name is Jahan Jones, cousin Jones.
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
Ah, Lord, here we go.
but Jahan to me was the bright spot of this film for me.
He was not the bright spot for me. He was the dullest of spots because
Not the dullest. I know
yes,
you
no,
was
no, no,
I
no.
know you
No,
telling
but
the
here's the
tale.
reason why, Daphne. The reason why it was the dullest for me is because you can. I'm going to say a thing without knowing who this person is, but
Mhm.
based on what I saw, it looks like he's a comedian, a stand-up
He
comedian,
is.
and stand-up comedians have to learn how to sit comfortably in a production without doing bits. That's the reason why I said to you, it felt like there were a bunch of bits that
Mhm.
they sequenced together because he's just trying to do funny gag after funny gag, as
Yeah.
opposed to doing what's required in the scene from the character to make the moment funny, as
Mhm.
opposed to, oh, every little second that you're on the screen, you're trying to milk it for something more than it needs to be. So, I mean, between the buck eyes and the way that he's doing the hawk call, like there was just a bunch of stuff I feel like we've seen other people who are funny comedians, actors do those things,
For
and it
sure.
wasn't even original as well. So that was the other thing that sort of threw me off about
Mhm.
it. Not to mention, I think you said the writing. The writing didn't support, I guess, much of what maybe he could do. So maybe that was just the best way he knew how to work, whatever that was. But it just didn't work for me.
Check out this comment.
Of course. Thank you, Kenny. Thank you for being on my side. I appreciate that.
Penny is on your side. And I hear you. Like I said, I hear you. And I did feel like you could see, like you said, the different comedians, like the bits that he took and kind of strung together or what they
Yeah.
did. But again, for me in this and what we viewed, I giggled. It was the giggleization that I was doing.
Okay, well, I'm gonna give you your giggle. All right, so we're gonna quickly go through the film like we typically do.
Can we make it real quick?
Yes,
Because oh
because
my, I was watching the thing and I got bored. After a while, I stopped paying attention.
I wish you could see my notes because I think I wrote down here at about the 48-minute mark, dull, dead. It should be over.
I
So
started looking at my phone.
uh,
I went on
man,
Instagram.
she's bad. She's bad. She's bad. She's bad. Okay, so anyway, we open up and we discover that there's a newlywed couple who haven't quite pulled it together as far as becoming a union. The husband is a barber. We don't know what the wife does, but we discover that they have signed a prenup. We also discover that the wife has kept her apartment. And so the barber's brother is sort of ridiculing him. I can't even talk tonight, ridiculing him about the fact that things haven't quite meshed. And so we know that the holiday is coming up, and he wants to know what's going to happen with the holidays because they've never celebrated the holidays together. And so Denzel Whitaker's character, whose name is Jerome says, well, this year is going to be different because it is dad's birthday, it's Christmas, and my wife has decided that she's going to celebrate Christmas with our family. All of that is good until we get introduced to the wife, played by Porscha Coleman. I believe her name is. Character's name is Kayla. And to her surprise, her brother, who is a performer, shows up from out of town unannounced. And so what that means is that her entire family has to get together. They have some saying about if one is away,
If
there is
one
no.
is away, the what? Oh shoot! If one
You'll
is
see it. I
away,
have
there's
a
no holiday
yeah.
today, or something like
Yes, it's some crap like that. And so what that does is that puts a damper in the plans that she had with her husband. So when she and the husband have a minor little debate or fight about it later that evening, he says something offhandedly about basically what we need to do is be in two places at once. She thinks that this is the most brilliant idea. And so they concoct this scheme, this plan that they're going to spend Christmas at both of their families' houses because they only live 15 minutes apart. And the way that they're going to accomplish that is that they're going to drive separately. And then at different times throughout the day, they're going to sneak in and out of their respective parents' homes.
Mhm.
So everything goes not so according to plan. And in the midst of that happening, as I said, we get introduced to the story of the visiting brother. He goes to church like he typically does, but now he is a cross-dresser or trans. They didn't really establish exactly what they wanted to call that. And the grandfather, who's the pastor of the church, is like, I ain't having it. We ain't doing none of that. In fact, I think I got a clip. Let me see if I can find it so y'all can see for yourself.
Mhm.
Right. The granddaddy was good. You got to give him his props.
Listen, I'm not mad at the granddaddy. Wait, this
What?
Mark, yes, it was very much for Christmases with the plot, them going to the different homes for the holiday. And then what was funny is they had a little hint of, was that Home Alone where Kevin had his little map out? So she had a little map with like little cookies and little drawings and things on there as well.
To keep it fun, and see, you said that you weren't entertained by anybody but
knock it off.
That dude. Okay, so before we move on, I got to play a part because Daphne wanted y'all to see something. So there's a choir at the church that happens right after this, and just watch.
I said, what is happening with this choir? Are they singing something else? All of them were on a different sway. I said, what's happening?
Listen, I was checking the lip sync. No, they were singing the same song. They just all had different ideas of what rhythm was. You know, that's a little bit of a problem. So anyhow, as we stated, they have established that they have this scheme where they're going to visit both families for Christmas. So Christmas Day arrives and they are off and running. They go to the husband's house first, family's houses first. And so they're over there and they have a time set up for everything a part of their plan. So things go okay until it is time for a movie to be played that the dad likes to watch on his birthday, because I said earlier that it is Jerome's father's birthday in addition to Christmas. And so it's so important that he has to be there. So the wife sneaks off to her family's home, and we see her over there with her family. Everything's going okay. However, what we also learn is that Valarie's character lied to her daddy and said, hey, you need to come on over to Christmas because your grandson is going to dress accordingly. So when the granddad shows up, the grandson has on some like stretchy gold pants that are shimmery, sparklies and some other stuff. And so the granddad's like, oh, hell no, I'm out of this piece, right? And so the daughter says, no, dad, it's Christmas. And so she quotes some scripture. And so the daddy's like, okay, fine. So they sit down to eat Christmas dinner and the granddad shows his royal ass. So what's established in this movie is that the grandson now refers to himself by the name Lily, but he was born with the name Damon or Damon. I can't remember. Damon. Okay. So the granddaddy is at the dinner. Damon.
Granddad said, I'm gonna call him Clay.
So the son, Lily, grandson, looking like, I don't know who you talking to. So then the granddaddy keep going in. Damon, will you pass me the mashed potatoes? Okay, so we see that happen twice in this Christmas dinner situation where he is bullying the grandson. And so at some point, eventually the daughter has had it. First, she is kind of like, okay, dad, whatever. And then finally she has had it. And she tells the dad that he has to leave because he can't respect anybody at the house. And the grandson. And so he gets up to leave. And then it was an awkward moment of how it happened, but it needed to happen before he can leave. They then have I'm sorry, because this happens in front of the entire family, if I didn't mention that. So then they have this moment where it's just the daughter and the granddad together, and she basically pleads with him to have a change of heart and stop being the ass that he's been. We then get a tender moment where it's the brother and the sister having a conversation, and then it's the mom who joins in this conversation. And so they make him feel better about who he is. And so after that, the grandfather calls for the grandson, and they have this touching moment where they clear the air about who they are. and where they are with each other, and basically establish that regardless of any of those differences, that there's love there. And so that's the major point of that particular story. Okay, so while that is going on, we have some situations that have been going on at the other house where the cousin, the one that I don't think is funny, he thinks that he has slept with the Jerome's brother's girlfriend.
The cousin's girlfriend.
Yeah, the other cousin's girlfriend. And so he's been hiding in the bathroom all of this time. And so eventually he gets called to the dinner table. Adele Givens basically threatens to shoot him if he doesn't bring his tail out to the dinner table.
So wild.
So then we get this not so funny moment where he comes out wearing 2 masks. And so they make him pull the mask off. And so then eventually they have the reveal. And what we discover, surprise, surprise. Ooh, it's so funny. I didn't actually sleep with you. I slept with your twin sister. Oh, wow. That was so hilarious. Ha, 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 ha. So then we then have a funny moment of he owes money to that chick that he slept with because he ghosted her. And then he owes money to his cousin's father and some other stuff. And eventually what happens is the family, the married couple have to get up and leave. So they go back on over to her wife's house. And so as they're sitting there trying to sort out some things, guess what happens? The other family shows up because the sister of the brother of Jerome, she smokes weed. And so she's been telling people something's been fishy all day with them. And so she basically tracks them down because of their phone. And they arrive, the other family, his family arrives at the wife's family's house. And so they all want to know what's going on. And if this sounds dull to you guys, because the film was dull, okay, so I just got to give it to you how we received it. All right, I'm
bored to tears.
It was boring. Okay, so then this was one of the more disappointing moments in the film for me, because after establishing how important it was for them to spend time with their families, I thought that they were going to have this moment where the families were going to go at each other in such a way that it would make sense as to why they couldn't come clean from the start. Because what you get to about the middle of the movie, guys, is you start to understand, like, this is dumb. Y'all should have just said, hey, we're married, we have to do something a little bit different. But instead of doing that, they basically made it seem like, oh, we were pressured into doing this, we were guilted into doing that. So you wanted to feel that moment, that tension, that conflict. But this is the result that we got of that. And it was so just lackluster and dead. And I was pissed.
Well,
y'all see how close that was? That was supposed to be the moment to make
painful
good on the fact that we witnessed them go through all of the trouble of going from house to house, back to the other house, back to the other house.
I must put this up because it was something I mentioned.
See now, okay, I'm gonna let y'all do that. I'm not gonna participate.
I'm just putting it up there because Jackie's wig. I don't know why they underused her and then they had that wig on. I mean, I don't know what.
Maybe it was intentional. Maybe, we all got that family member that don't know how to put their wig on properly.
Maybe it was intentional and they thought that would be so funny. It didn't translate. Right.
Okay. So after this moment, the movie basically gets resolved because what the couple ends up doing is saying, listen, we love you, but we are married. This is what we need to do. We have to establish our own traditions. And so her family pushes back her mom specifically, but then she basically says to the mom, you guys have to be open to change and not fear change. And so once they kind of soften their heart, the granddad gives this mini sermonette about some stuff. And so they all soften their heart and they're all like, isn't that fantastic? And so then the movie ends with them at church. Both families are at church. And guess what? We get a further resolution of the situation with granddad and grandson, because when we first get to see them, he won't allow the grandson to sing in church. And so the movie basically ends with the grandson being allowed to go and sing at church with his mom like they typically do during the holidays. And that wraps up Too Many Christmases. And again, if that seemed dull to you, it's because the movie was dull.
But I was sitting here laughing while you was wrapping up because of this right here, Mark. Do you know where that's from? As well as
I need y'all to stop playing while I'm trying to have a serious conversation here.
Oh, yes, Kenny, the unseasoned choir does return at the end. And I'm so glad you brought them up again, because I did want to circle back up to a couple of these comments about the choir that tickled me.
Okay.
Lee says definitely not the preacher's wife cry.
Yeah, everybody ain't able. Everybody
Everybody
ain't
ain't
able.
able. And yes, Kitty, that staying on beat was not a thing for them at all. And Narette, you are the competition and choir was out. And also, Mark, you are Mary Clarence. She couldn't save it. She couldn't save it. Sorry.
Okay, are you done?
I'm done.
All right. So now let's go on and transition on over to what are some of the things that you like the most about this? 3 things, if you have 3.
What I like the most. Let
Uh-uh.
me.
Y'all see the way she said that? She's like, I really don't have anything, but I'm gonna try to play nice right now. That's how she said it.
Correct.
Oh, that's so funny.
The 3 things that I liked most. We had the opposite. Like I said, you said you did not like Jahan. He was on my what I liked most
Okay.
about this film here.
Okay. All right.
What I also enjoyed, or who I enjoyed, was Valarie Pettiford. I enjoy her.
Yeah.
So that's something I enjoyed.
Okay.
And then Denzel his acting between the couple, like he did better than what she did. That was just an honorable mention.
Really?
I'm gonna say the number one thing that I liked most was Adele's church hat. Adele had on a church hat. I think it's the one that's pictured in the poster for the movie. But
no, it's
yeah.
pink. It's pink. I don't know if it looks pink in this one. That looks purple. So it's probably the same
It's
kind of hat.
it's a pinkish purple kind of hat. Yeah, that's
now that's kind of sad. That's kind of sad when a hat is the most the thing that you
and
enjoy.
they weren't in order. They weren't in order.
I have a
So
feeling
those were just some things.
The way you ragged on this movie, I have a feeling that the hat was your most favorite thing. I do. And that didn't come till the end, and that's so sad. So basically, you were like, this is over. Ha ha ha, that hat, and then you were ready to move on.
Yeah, I was quite ready to move
Y'all
on.
see
I
these?
was like, oh, we're done.
This is surprising how tough Daphne is being this week. Y'all know she normally is very forgiving. Very, very, very forgiving.
True.
Okay, so here we go. Here are the 3 things that I liked the most about the film.
Let me hear these.
The third is the reason why I wanted us to watch this film. It was very good, heartwarming to see Adele, Jack A, Michael, and Valarie in a film. Like, it's always, we don't want to forget our older performers and make it seem like they're not important and not talented. So I just wish that they had been given more space to do their thing. But you know what? I do want to play, a clip of someone I did not give any credit to, because this is another one that Daphne wanted to see while we're giving some flowers out to people. So the dad in the movie has this one moment, and it's low-key kind of funny. So I don't want to shade this dude. Y'all watch this.
It's funny.
Could watch Christmas with Cletus.
Like we would watch any other movie on today or like today.
You bet not on my birthday.
All right, so
baby, the dad, that was hilarious.
Yeah,
that should have been my number one. What I liked the most.
Okay, so that was good again to see the older performers. I just wish the ones that I mentioned, that Adele, Jack A, and Michael, really were able to get off. Valarie didn't have to bring the funny, but she got opportunity to bring character and heart to the film, and she was really good. Number 2,
Shawn mentioned him, Mark, right before, and then again now.
Yeah, he basically wasn't there either.
He wasn't there enough.
He wasn't allowed to do the Michael stuff that we know from him, so no need to mention him more than that. But the second thing is we differ again. So you said that you had more interest in what Denzel did, and I think that I like Porscha more. And the reason why I liked Porscha more is because she looked like she was having a good time. She looked like she was trying to make something work every time she was in the film. So I appreciated the energy and the effort, but I thought that they had good chemistry together. Honestly, I thought that it worked.
Okay.
Ooh, y'all wait till we get offline. I wish y'all could see when we get offline.
Cousin Misha Jones. Somebody.
All right. The number one thing. Damn. I don't think I have it. So the number one thing I liked is there's this music that plays whenever there was a moment. and it was very familiar. Okay, I feel like I have it. It's not going to be as funny to y'all, but I still got to play it. It's this. All right, all right,
I
all right,
didn't
all right,
mean
all right.
that.
I just want y'all to hear that music. So that was my like amusing, funny thing that was number one for me in this film. But overall, as we stated, this was not a strong film. The reason why it got a 2 for me is that it started comical. It had good energy. I wanted to watch something that was about extended family as opposed to the romances that we've been watching thus far. And this gave me that. I got a taste of it. The only problem was the execution. So as we talked about, the writing wasn't the strongest, and it really had the potential to be a really fun film. It really had the potential for a lot of people. Yes, the music was a side character, Narette. Yes, the movie had the premise had the opportunity to be really good because people really could have gotten funnies off. They could have developed the story. They could have done all of that. And I don't know what got lost in translation. Yeah, when the music is number one, that's telling you a lot. Although Daphne's number one, Maisha, you missed it, was Adele's church hat. So that's how terrible it was
And
for
this
both
is
of us.
Mark said, which was better, Adele's church at her arena.
You know what? Are you going to
I'm gonna say
embarrass me
Aretha.
at every turn, Mark? Okay, so Daphne, what is your rating of Christmas magic? Did this film have any Christmas magic for you?
Christmas magic?
Yes, you know I asked that question. Stop playing with me.
No, I'm saying that in reference to the film, if they actually had Christmas magic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get at a 2 also.
Oh, okay. So it did have a little bit of Christmas magic. So what, as far as that goes, was missing for you? What would you have liked to have seen that would have given it a more magical feel?
Maybe a little more sprucing of the decoration, like
So
I
it's
don't know.
ambiance for you?
I'm sorry.
Ambiance?
Yeah, ambiance, maybe I don't know, a Christmas carol or two.
The choir was your Christmas carol. What are you talking about? And you love
Stop
that
it.
moment. Daphne, you love that moment. You had me play it for everybody. Should I play it for them again?
You know what? That was an enjoyable moment, so you can. It was bored to tears, but that choir sure had me.
Wait a minute.
I was trying to catch a beat of one of them.
You know, hey, can I ask a dumb question? Why did they put the white girl up front?
I don't know. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
she's not even really moving. She like looks like it is painful for her to move around. Why did they put her up front?
I don't know. I have no answer for you.
Okay. All right, cool. Okay, so last question that I have for you. If you could fix this film, what would you have done differently? What things would you have changed? Mm-hmm.
I would have gotten rid of the wig, the cousin with the wig and the weed smoking, or done something different with her.
Why her wig look like Michael Jackson's wig from The Wiz?
It did. Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
It did look like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's sad.
It is.
Yeah, all she needed was the straw hat.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I would have done something with her or different to her character or not had it at all. Gosh, I don't know. There's just too many things. So I can't even say.
This is shocking to me that you have this much of a terrible reaction to the film like this, where you can't even pinpoint exactly.
I can. Besides what I said earlier, and Mark just commented here, they should have let Jackie and Michael Colyar do what they do.
True.
So like that could have, you know, helped it a
lot.
lot.
And the funny.
And the funny, like that's all the funny rested on. All the funny rested upon who you didn't like, Jahan. They rested all the funny on him. They made that his job. When you had, yes, Maisha, they should have been rocking in the same direction. And they were all going multiple. That's the funny thing. It wasn't just like some going what. They were all doing different moves. But yeah, I don't know. They had those veterans there and did
Mhm.
not use
Didn't
them.
utilize them at all.
They did not utilize them. Also, again, with the writing and the story, like it was a couple of times, like they mentioned at the beginning, them living separately.
Yeah.
You know, they're newlyweds and they got married, but they're still living, excuse me, separately. And we never learn as the movie from the whole time. We never learn why they're living separately. Besides, it's just like, oh, you know, she do her thing and I do my thing, and that's just
Yeah.
how we do. Sometimes she come over to my house, so it was just, yeah,
So
it was
too many loose threads that
too
never.
many loose threads. Like I
Okay.
said, the name of the movie could have been too many other things going on instead of too many Christmases.
Y'all
And
know she love a good nickname, okay?
I do
Like
love a
mean
good
sister number
nickname,
one and
and
mean sister number two.
that's
Everybody hate Chris brother. She
yeah.
got a nickname for everything. All right.
Listen, this one we had wig and weed cousins. So yeah, it was yeah, too many things,
Okay, too many
unfortunately for me,
things.
that I can't begin. So I'm sure you're ready. Go ahead with
No, no,
yours.
no. Actually, I don't. I think I'm similar in that I thought that what
What?
disappointed me is that there were the two not conflicting plots, but I just wasn't expecting the resolution of this issue with Lily and Granddad to be a big moment. Like touching on it as sort of a B or a C story in the film, I thought was good. But I'm like, nah, this became like equally weighted about a third, not a third, like halfway through the film. And that's
Mhm.
what surprised me because as much as I like the granddad, that just wasn't why I was tuning in to see this particular movie. I was tuning in to see, again, how do you really resolve this issue between two people who don't want to disappoint their families, trying to have Christmas at both of the respective families' homes. And they just lost the plot on that. They lost and that's why I said, again, it was a
Mhm.
bunch of bits stringed together. They did
Yeah.
not know how to weave a story out of those different gags and bits that they put together to create this particular film. And so we got, a lot of stuff got lost as a result of that. But
Mhm.
the bright spots definitely were Valarie, the guy who played her dad. Um,
Mhm.
and I'm cool with Valarie. I mean, not Valarie, Porscha, and what Denzel did. Um, as much as I didn't like him, at least he was trying to be funny, the cousin.
Yeah.
And what else did I say? There was somebody else that was interesting. But nevertheless, it was just an okay film. So you guys,
Oh,
what?
real quick too.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't say they also didn't utilize Adele like they could have.
Yeah, I mean,
And the fact that neither of us mentioned it till just now too, like that goes to show you too. Like here's a comedian who is funny.
but here's the crazy thing, talking about fixing the film, the way that they could have fixed that was they instantly put her at odds with her nephew or cousin. They should have
Mhm.
kept playing that throughout the rest of the day. Like him being in that bathroom all that
Mhm.
time, which was so stupid. They should have
Yep.
been playing on that. So like when she got her moment about the gun, it didn't go because you never really established that. We got the mention of the gun earlier, but the way they
Mhm.
filmed that sequence was just not funny. It fell flat. It just
It
did
did.
not work out. So
Yep.
yes, I agree.
Mhm.
Well, maybe not entirely. I would have seen if I would have been able to play again with that idea of what does it look like with someone sharing Christmas for the first time together as a married couple, and what do you do to make both of your families happy? I would have left that there, but I would have done
Mhm.
some other things differently.
Made that more meatier.
Yeah, the conflict of that, like
That
this
needed
is
to
why
be.
you have to do this. This is why you have to be here. They definitely didn't do that. So
Yeah, we were led to think that it was a story about how they were going to navigate this Christmas, but
mhm.
we had the alternate storylines there that
Well, thank you for showing up for us, Maisha. We really appreciate it.
appreciate you, cousin Maisha Jones.
So, as I like to say, I'm not gonna hold y'all. We're not gonna keep y'all. So we just want to say that we do plan to do one final show next week. It's probably gonna be next Sunday, might be
Sunday.
Monday. We'll let you know. And that show is just gonna be us talking about classic Black holiday films that are feature films. So films that we've all seen, none of these new ones that were released this year or last year. So we hope you will show up for us on that'll be December the 29th or perhaps December the 30th. We will let you know. But on that note, this concludes this edition of Hot Cocoa and Candy Canes. As usual, we thank you all for coming out to play with us.
We
And
appreciate y'all.
we wish we had a better film to talk about, but it is what it is. But we will see y'all very soon.